Let's go ahead and take a look at our sine, cosine, and tangent functions. Keep in mind that these three functions are not one-to-one functions. If we take a look at the graph of each of those, each of them would fail the horizontal line test. That horizontal line would hit your graph in more than one location. Because of that, we're going to need to restrict the domain of each of our functions so that we can work with a one-to-one function, so that we're able to find an inverse. Let's go ahead and work with our sine function first. So we'll take a look at y equals sine of x, and let's talk about our domain and range of our original sine function. We're going to be restricting our domains here. So our domain is going to be restricted between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. The range of this function, if you take a look at our graph up here, the range is going to go from negative 1 to positive. Now let's take a look at our inverse function. Keep in mind, when you're working with inverse functions, the range of our original is going to become the domain of our inverse. So our domain here is going to be from negative 1 to positive 1. And our range is going to come from the domain of our original. So we're going to be looking at negative pi over 2, positive pi over 2. The same type of thing will happen with our cosine function. We're going to have to go ahead and restrict the domain that we're working with. So our cosine function is going to be limited to a domain on the interval from 0 to pi, which is the piece you see here in this graph. And the range is going to go from negative 1 to positive 1. If we take a look at the inverse cosine function, remember that the range of our original is going to become the domain of our inverse. So we're looking at negative 1 to positive 1. And our range is going to be from 0 to pi. When we take a look at our tangent function, we're going to limit ourselves to a domain from negative pi over 2, positive pi over 2. Our range, if we take a look at our graph here, is going to go from negative infinity to positive infinity. And now let's go ahead and take a look at our inverse function. Right, our domain is going to come from the range of that original. So negative infinity to positive infinity. And our range is going to go from negative pi over 2 pi over 2.